the start of his career, Bryan Cranston looked like the typical goofy side character you would see in a sitcom or commercial. By the end, he would become known as one of the biggest dramatic actors in television history. Cranston fit the perfect stereotype of what your average funny dad character was supposed to be. He wasn't intimidating, he wasn't necessarily built strong, didn't have a commanding presence, and he wasn't meant to play the villain. But his impressive versatility as an actor, which was emphasized on Malcolm in the Middle, let him get his foot into the door for an opportunity that would change his life. In this interview from 2023, Bryan describes the complex preparation he had to do when it came to playing his most notable dramatic role of Walter White.
I actually thought of my dad a lot in his rounded shoulders, his age, and Walter felt like he was much older than he really was. He was 50, but he felt like he was 70.
In another video from 2016, he described arguably one of the most powerful wisdoms he's used to elevate himself as an actor, which helps explain how he got to be in the position he's in today.
Success is just focusing all your attention on the thing that you do and love without having a claim on an outcome. So as an actor, it changed everything for me. I went, oh, I'm not here to get a job. I'm here to do a job.
Fortunately enough, Cranston would go on to be remembered as one of the best actors of all time following his performance as Walter White. This success, however, wasn't overnight, and once you learn about the struggles he's had to go through being typecast as goofy side characters, and as well nearly walking away from acting altogether, you will truly understand why Bryan Cranston risked everything for a role no one believed he could play. Born on March 7th, 1956, in one of the biggest entertainment capitals in the world, Hollywood, Los Angeles, he was a middle child, having one older brother and a younger sister. His mother, Annalisa, was a radio actress who had met his father, Joseph, an actor and former amateur boxer, in an acting class. Cranston grew up in Canoga Park, where his father at the time was going from job to job frequently before he decided to become an actor. When he eventually decided to pursue acting, he unfortunately didn't make enough to provide for his family. Cranston's father walked out on the family when he was 11, and they did not see each other again until 11 years later, when Cranston and his brother decided to track down their father. After his father abandoned the family, Cranston spent part of his childhood living on his maternal grandparents' poultry farm in Yucaipa, California. He described his parents as broken people who struggled with parenting, ultimately leading to their home being lost to foreclosure. During this time in 1968, when he was 12 years old, he encountered Charles Manson while riding horses with his cousin at the Spawn Ranch, which was a year before he committed his infamous gruesome crimes. Funny enough, Bryan Cranston would go on to graduate from Canoga Park High School, where he was actually a member of the chemistry club. Following this, he went on to attend Los Angeles Valley College, where he would get his first taste of his artistic potential. As a teen, coming from a broken home and looking for a father figure, Cranston decided his future would be as a policeman, immersing himself in the major so completely that he neglected to take any elective. Needing one, he took an acting class, and at 19 years old, all of a sudden, my life changed. And although this did mark the start of his love for the art of acting, it wasn't all said and done, as Cranston almost left acting behind altogether following that very same class.
I was asked to make out with this really pretty girl, and I couldn't believe that she didn't really like me. It gave me pause. I took 2 years off and realized, okay, I'm gonna give this a shot.
After graduating in 1976, Cranston and his older brother decided to spend the mid to late 1970s traveling the country on motorcycles, like most young adults did his age. Although they were broke and unable to afford expensive things, it didn't stop them from enjoying their youth. They ended up getting all the way to Daytona, Florida, where they picked up jobs as servers, which as expected was run by an angry boss paying them little money. However, things would soon take an extreme turn for the worse as Bryan Cranston became wanted for murder.
This chef named Peter. Peter was a horrid man. So we all all the waiters talked about how would we kill Peter? Well, we dice him up, put him in the wok, put some,
Coincidentally, during this same time, the chef Peter Wong had deliberately gone missing as soon as Cranston left the restaurant to continue his travels.
The police came into the restaurant and said, anybody ever talk about killing Peter Wong? And I said, well, Cranston did, It's like...
Luckily, this was all a misunderstanding, and Cranston was dropped of all suspect allegations. Following this, he received his ministerial ordination from the Universal Life Church, leading him to work summers on Catalina Island, where he earned $150 each wedding. In addition, he was a truck loader, a CCTV security guard, a waiter, a night shift security guard, and a camera operator for a video dating service. During this time, Cranston began his acting career in local theaters, slowly but surely easing his way into smaller roles here and there. He was an original cast member of the ABC soap opera Loving, where he played Douglas Donovan from 1983 to 1985, where he stated, "I just love being on stage. I lose all track of time when I'm working in theater," subtly describing his passion for the art and not the money. He would go on to have more and more little roles in Raising Miranda and the original 1990s Baywatch.
You got jurisdiction over watercraft in the open sea?
No.
Great. Because me and my little party boat are going to be raising some hell tomorrow. And the day after that, and the day after that. You see, I've got a reputation to maintain.
And as well dipped into voice acting during his early career, most notably voicing characters like Fei Long in Street Fighter II, the animated movie.
No, we're not done yet! You haven't seen anything! Get ready!
And as well voicing a few characters on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, where he was paid about $50 an hour for 2 or 3 hours of daily work, which was not too bad at the time. Throughout the very late 1990s, Cranston had garnered a numerous number of roles that kept getting slightly bigger and bigger in terms of depth. But it wouldn't be until the year 2000 that Bryan got his first breakthrough role that would catapult him into numerous future endeavors. While auditions for Hal were being conducted, Bryan Cranston happened to wander onto the set while it was being built. Cranston decided to act out a bit, where he put a pipe into his mouth and gave the family a faraway look while they were acting out an argument, reacting to the scene in real time. Boomer immediately offered Cranston the role.
And he comes on set and he had like a skin-toned Speedo on. "Hey, I'm Bryan. I'm gonna be your dad." And he's just the coolest guy. Like, so it's weird to think if he didn't get cast, the show would have been completely different.
On set, it was explained that working with Bryan Cranston meant working longer hours, but it was all for the right reasons. It wasn't because he was difficult or a Hollywood diva, it was simply because he would make everyone else break character and crack up laughing. His iconic portrayal of Hal Wilkerson, a fun, loving, and overly obnoxious father, earned him a nomination for a Golden Globe and 3 Emmy Awards. Although the show concluded all the way back in 2006, he ended up reprising his role in an alternate ending of Breaking Bad, with Jane Kaczmarek reprising her role as Lois.
You're goddamn right.
Wake up, honey, wake up. I had the scariest dream. You don't understand. I was this dealer.
Following Malcolm in the Middle's strong conclusion, Cranston would audition for what some would call the character he was born to play, Walter White, an overqualified high school chemistry teacher struggling to provide for his family after being diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. However, his comedic performance of Hal would put a halt on others giving him the opportunity to play dramatic role. Initially, executives had offered John Cusack and Matthew Broderick the role, in which both of them turned it down. Execs had trouble seeing Cranston play this role, stating, "We all still had the image of Bryan shaving his body in Malcolm in the Middle. We were like, really? Isn't there anybody else?" However, Vince Gilligan, the show creator, pushed for Bryan to play Walter White, recalling the time Cranston caught his attention when he was on The X-Files.
Outset, I had Bryan Cranston in mind because I thought back to that episode of X-Files. I realized he was the whole package. I thought back to that sympathizability, and I realized we had that need here. So Bryan Cranston for me was the guy, pretty much from day one.
The pilot episode of the show was amazingly received by audiences, with Cranston winning a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series.
She's bald too.
I haven't been able to get this close to her until now, as the restraining order has been lifted.
Being nominated alongside actors like Michael C. Hall, James Spader, and Hugh Laurie. His recognition as an actor would go on to grow exponentially as the show managed to create the best seasons in television history up until its conclusion in 2013. Bryan Cranston won 3 consecutive Emmy Awards for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series for his portrayal of Walter White on AMC's Breaking Bad, holding the honor of being the first actor in a cable series and the second lead actor in the history of the Emmy Awards to receive 3 consecutive wins. The show would go down as a pop culture phenomenon, being critically acclaimed as the best show of all time. It would also mark the freedom of him being typecast as a specific type of character. In 2015, he starred as the lead in Trumbo, where he earned an Oscar nomination and reprised his role of Walter White in 2019's El Camino, a Jesse Pinkman spinoff.
Certainly went big with the pineapple.
That was good for you. It's got bromine.
Bromelain. But close. Actually, it's not close at all.
Additionally, he returned for a slightly larger cameo in Better Call Saul's finale during the flashback sequences, seemingly transitioning back into Walter White despite it being nearly 10 years since he left the character.
What would you do if you had a time machine?
Time machine. It would violate the second law of thermodynamics.
But what about a wormhole?
Kidding me? Quantum mechanics? We're discussing that now? Stay in your lane.
Which goes to show his appreciation towards getting the opportunity to go back to the Breaking Bad universe. Most notably in recent years, he starred in Your Honor, where he played Michael DeSiato, a respected New Orleans judge known for his strong moral compass and dedication to justice. This in and of itself is a perfect example of Cranston finally having more serious and dramatic roles following a performance of a lifetime. In interviews, Cranston has expressed his gratitude for the opportunities that followed Breaking Bad, while also emphasizing his desire to explore diverse roles to avoid being typecast, continuing the balance between mainstream projects with passion endeavors and showcasing his versatility as an actor.
What else allows you to be at peace with the fact that you're so well known for one of the great characters of all time?
That you were so damn lucky to get it.
A great example that describes the freedom he now has as an artist is his role in Why Him, starring alongside James Franco, where he returned to playing a protective and traditional father, embodied with satirical humor, proving he's not stuck to the dramatic or comedic genre, but rather so flexible that he's able to do both to a large degree. In another interview, he described how he felt about his rise to fame following Breaking Bad, showing his transparency.
I'm not completely comfortable with the amount of attention, to be honest with you. I don't mean to sound like it's a complaint, because having this measure of success or fame has brought great opportunity, and I'm exceedingly grateful for that.
In June of 2023, Cranston announced he would be planning to retire from acting in the year 2026 at the age of 70. He stated that for the last 24 years, Robin, his wife, has led her life holding on to my tail. She's been the plus one. She's been the wife of a celebrity. She's had to pivot and adjust her life based on mine. She has had tremendous benefit from it, but we're uneven. I want to level that out. She deserves it. However, before retiring, it was announced on December 13th, 2024, that there would be a Malcolm in the Middle reunion taking place with original cast members like Frankie Muniz, Bryan Cranston, and Jane Kaczmarek reprising their roles in a 4-episode revival series, which goes to show that Cranston isn't done with acting just yet and continues to embrace his past success. Now, after hearing all this, you might think to yourselves, how could anyone have ever typecast Bryan Cranston as this funny side character when most people look at him and envision his dramatic role of Heisenberg? Well, the truth is that Hollywood is a brutal industry that isn't perfect, and as we can see with Cranston, it sometimes lies within having more luck than sheer talent. Bryan didn't get his big break until he was 40 years old, and only got his role of Walter White when he was 50. Considering the fact that most people would have quit by then altogether, it goes to show firsthand how his wisdom got him to where he is today. Without his mental fortitude, he would have been known for his goofy, funny dad comedic roles, but instead, he's left a mark on television as a whole, with his dramatic style resonating with audiences all over the world. His philosophy got him to where he is today and can be applied to everyone's own personal life, reiterating that you aren't here to get a job, but rather here to do the job you were destined for.